passed the NBA draft lottery. And we're going to reconvene on tonight's show and cover all the options that the Knicks are facing right now with the number 8 pick. Of course, we're going to take your phone call, 657-383-1509. CP from KnicksFanTV checking in. My man, Alex Trataros in the building. Knicks blogger, Knicks podcaster, NBA blogger as well, man. Alex, how you feeling tonight, bro?
I'm good, CP. Just chilling, enjoying this night, and ready to talk some Knicks, man. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. And indeed, and 2020 has just been crazy, bro, because you have all these current events going on. You have, obviously the passing of Kobe and everything, and you're now in the bubble. Everything that's transpiring in Wisconsin now has led to a strike yesterday. No playoff games yesterday. Now it's back on again. I mean, give me your thoughts on what's going on, man. Before we get into this draft, I think we got to touch on what's going on with the league, because it's just been crazy what's been transpiring the past few days.
It has been crazy, but you know what? I support the players and what they're doing. I think yesterday, especially with what happened to Jacob Blake, that's his name. Jacob Blake. Just a horrific event. Terrible. We understand that Black Lives Matter. We understand that this is a movement that needs to be heard, that needs to continue, and the players are doing everything that they can to make sure that it's heard, that everyone's voices is heard. And I think they're using their platform the right way. And for them going on strike yesterday, that's historic, man. I mean, the NBA has always been a progressive league, but them choosing not to play yesterday made a statement saying, you know what, we're not doing enough, and there's a bigger issue outside of basketball, and we got to take care of it. To see that the Bucks were calling the Department of Justice to see what they can do to get the charges to go through and get the cops who are involved in the shooting. Mm-hmm. That's more important than playing basketball. And now the fact that we're going to probably be getting games back on Saturday, I'm looking forward to hear what they're going to do moving forward, what more they got the owners to do, but kudos to the players, man. Kudos to the players.
Yeah, I would say kudos to them. Back when the whole Rodney King episode went down in 92, Craig Hodges, during the finals, game 1 in the finals, Lakers versus Bulls, he went up to before that, he went up to MJ and Magic Johnson. It's like, yo, listen, we need to boycott this thing, to take a stand. And they felt like it was too radical a move, and they passed on it. And so you now have the modern day player or teams that are now thinking about ways to make an impact, in terms of protesting and boycott and just raising awareness to the cause of their people. So I think you have to commend them on it. I saw a lot of backlash, a lot of anti-LeBron, LeBron's doing this, LeBron's doing that. I think people need to understand that this was started by the Milwaukee Bucks. The Jacob Blake situation happened in Wisconsin. Secondly, you have the player on the Milwaukee Bucks. His name is slipping me. I believe it's Sterling Brown. Mm-hmm. Sterling Brown, who had an altercation with the police. He was tased, gun pointed to his head, had a traumatic experience there. So when all this is going down, they're coming to his defense as well. So it was really the Milwaukee Bucks that started it by basically calling a strike. And once they decided to sit out, the ball became rolling from there. So now that it's back on, I see people saying, "Oh, they catered," they folded and this and the third. I'm like, that it's not that simple. I think people need to understand that these players are affected by what's going on out there in the real world. It's not just about dribbling a basketball. These are things that impact them in their lives. These players have stories like other people have stories. Maybe it didn't end in a bullet. You know what I mean? But, they should be heard. And so to say that they didn't, that they caved into the pressure and so on and so forth, people got to understand, like, it's not easy to put your whole livelihood on the line for something like this. A lot of people aren't doing it. There's a lot of people not on the front line. Everybody's at home on their, armchair activism. Like, it takes a lot to go out there and really put in work. You know what I mean? And so
that's a fact.
these players understand that if they sit this thing out and they cancel the league, they lock the league out next year, it's not just Kyrie's 30 million on the line or LeBron's 30 million on the line. This is, Langston Galloway, when is his contract coming? This is Torrey Murray. He's not in the league anymore, but those caliber guys, is his contract coming another day? So you're talking about the livelihoods of not just the players at the top, but the players at the bottom, the support staff, so on and so forth. So it's not an easy thing to say is just, stop playing and focus on social justice. It's not that easy of a decision at all.
Not at all. Alex Kennedy wrote about this for Hoops Hype, and he interviewed Ed Davis about this. And Ed Davis we were talking about in length too, where you have players who are not making anywhere close to what LeBron James or Kyrie Irving or Anthony Davis. And you have guys who, not even like Ed Davis, who's had a long career and has made a good amount of money. You have guys who the average length of an NBA career, I believe, is like 4 years.
It's very 4 years. It is 4 years.
Yeah. And then what's that like for, depending on where you get drafted, that's either 9 million or way less. Imagine Mitch, he's making about close to $1 million. Imagine 4 years just making $1 million, and then that's it with your career. And it's not just those players who are living off those salaries. This is generational wealth that we're talking about.
Right.
And so it's very hard for a player to be like, oh yeah, let me just give up my millions because I'm just going to go be a social activist. And it's not like if they want to do that, by all means, kudos to them. Yeah. But they have families that they also have to take care of as well. And it's very hard to say, let me just, as you already said, just give up everything. Like I'm a regular day person. I can't just say, hey, you know what, quit my job. I got to still pay bills. And I could say, why didn't they do that? Or why can't they do this? But absolutely. And, when you talk about players that also experience this, like we can go back to even Thabo Sefolosha not too long ago when he was, I believe he was in New York City, and the police just beat him and broke his leg, and this is where like it gets tiring, being a black and brown person in the society where it's just like, enough. Yeah. Enough's enough.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough. And, to see some people not being empathetic about the situation is tough. You see grown men, you see Doc Rivers crying, you see Chris Webber crying, Kenny Smith walking off. People have stories, man. Doc Rivers, he had that speech yesterday and everybody's commending him. A lot of people forget Doc Rivers' house was burnt down in San Antonio in a apparent racist attack. I mean, these things this is real life stuff. You know what I mean? It's not just what happened with Jacob Blake or whatever the facts are or what happened or didn't happen. It's way deeper than that. It goes way, way back before that, from personal stories to history on down. It's deeper than that. And so sure. I think people need to understand that these players are trying to figure out how to best use their platform to affect change. I think there's been some naive sentiments, like, Siakam thought, he was taken aback. He said, I thought we were raising awareness by being in the bubble and wearing the jerseys and things like that. Like, no, it takes a lot of work to really affect change. It's a long grind. It's a lifetime commitment. It's a long process. Just look at, what history has showed us. So I think these people, these players, they're trying to figure out how to use a platform. Give them time to figure that out. And let's not nitpick and say, he's doing this wrong, or he's doing this wrong, or he's reading one page of a book, or he's not supporting this cause. Let them figure out the best path to move forward, and let's stop, with the armchair activism and really criticizing what they should be doing. You know what I mean? At least they're taking a step, and this is having an impact on sports across the board.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. I mean, there's not much more to say than we got to be supportive. These guys are going through it like real time. It's hard to like figure everything out within a day. No one figures out anything in a day. And so like, we can't be like, as you said, armchair activists saying, hey, why don't you have it figured out now? Man, I don't even know what I'm going to have for lunch sometimes during the same day. How am I going to figure out what to do for, to promote social justice and to make sure we get change to move across, like, on all levels. I mean, the other issue is that Jaylen Brown brought it up too. It's like if they all went back home, and I think the bubble is bringing awareness to. I think it is to some extent. It's still like a work in progress throughout all this. We see it, but Jaylen Brown said, even if they cancel the season, what if everyone goes home? What is everyone doing? Right? Are they going to be sitting on their butts on the couch, or are they going to be outside like protesting, figuring out how to work with nonprofits? What else are they doing? At least if they're in the bubble, at least we'll see Black Lives Matter on the court. We'll at least have the stories that we heard from Doc Rivers, Chris Webber, all these guys. Like, we got this because of this platform. You know what I mean? So it's not easy to figure it out. And I think we got to be a little bit more lenient with the players and with the NBA in general, because they're trying. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least we could say that they're trying. There's other leagues that are just not trying. You know what I mean? So yeah, I give some credit to the NBA and some credit to the players. Like, we can't be so harsh.
Can't be harsh on the armchair criticism, man. This is real life. People have real stories, and they should be heard. So just give them a chance. But that's that on that topic. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. All right, let's get to this draft talk, Al. Because, I've gotten over the sting of the 8th pick. And now looking forward, listen, this is about options. This show is about options. Because with the 8th pick, Knicks have a ton of options staring in front of them. Right? They're Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, they're basically building with almost a clean slate, a blank slate here of how they want to, start to build this team in their vision and their mold. So tonight's show, let's start with keeping the pick at 8. Who would be your preferred prospect, and what are you thinking so far at 8 right now?
Keller Lewis is my top guy right now. I know. We talk about the Knicks needing a point guard. I'm not saying Kerr is going to be that guy who's going to like lead us to the chip or even to the playoffs, but I just like who he is as a prospect. Spencer Perman talked about at great length when you guys did the lottery show.
Yep.
Yeah. I just like speed, and one thing I always look at is like an elite talent. So if you have Lamelo, who's an elite passer, the next elite talent that I see is Kerr with speed, and I'll take speed any day. The way that he's able to penetrate the lanes, get steals, he shot pretty well from 3. This his college season, I think it was like 36%. He shot around 45% from the field. Kid can just move and get to the lane and be a playmaker. I like that. I like that about him. He gives me, not saying he's going to be John Wall or De'Aaron Fox, but he gives me those type of vibes with the speed, and that's what I like. I just want someone who can like just attack, move, especially in transition. When we were watching the Knicks, man, and I was so infuriated we didn't even push the pace. It was moving slower than molasses, man. I want to see someone that can just push the ball. Keller Lewis can push the ball. I mean, I went to the Westchester G League game when I was back home in White Plains, and that team was much more fun to watch because of the pace, man. They play with a fast pace. And I think that's something the Knicks were lacking last year, was just playing with pace and keeping guys on their toes. They'd bring it up, play the half court, and they weren't that effective in the half court. So why not get a guy, especially who's young, who can just go down the court, break with like bursts of speed? That's what I like.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, man. I would say this on Lewis. I don't know. Would they go up and get him at 8? I think that's my question with Lewis. I see these guys being available. My mouse is a bit frozen here. Pardon me 1 second. I see these guys being available. I see these 5 guys being available at 8. I think it's gonna be Obi. I think Obi could be there. Mm-hmm. Okoro, Devin Vassell, who they say they're high on. I think potentially Hayes, depending on where Detroit goes, and Halliburton. I'm not so sure they go up to get Keller Lewis at 8. I think they will go best player available. Maybe they have him on their board. We'll see how their board looks. But I think it's going to come down to those 5 guys. I think it's going to be Okoro, Obi, Halliburton, Hayes, and Vassell.
I mean, if Hayes is there, I'm just thinking that Detroit's ahead of us, and I'm thinking that Lamelo is going to be gone way before he even gets to Detroit at 7. I'm thinking that Hayes is going to be gone at 7. So if we like if we like a point guard, I know Cole Anthony's like another guy that people like as well. I think he might be a little bit not too far back. I think around like the 10-11 range.
Yeah.
But I would prefer if the Knicks were able to trade back to get Kira. In all honesty, I just like him as a prospect, so that's why I would go with him at 8. Obi is a good choice though. I like Obi topping just because he's able to score. My issue with Obi though is his defense, especially if we're looking at him as a prospect.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Tibbs will work with Obi, man. It would definitely be interesting to see how Tibbs works with Obi. You know, the case for what I don't think they should do is reach up for the point guard just to say that they're gonna get the point guard at 8. I do think they need to start the process of grooming the future point guard of this team. You know, whether it is at 8 or at 27 or so on, or through free agency, they need to start figuring out who could potentially be the answer here. It's not going to be Frank. It's not going to be DSJ. It's definitely not going to be Elfrid Payton. So at the point guard of the future of this team is not on the roster right now. I think the case could be made for the 3 and D wing at 8, whether it's Vassell or Okoro. I mean, think about this, bro. Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam, Ben Simmons, Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I mean, this is your division competition right here that you're going to need to match up with. You know what I mean? So, a Vassell, even an Okoro, even though the shooting scares me, I could see the investment being made there to really give yourself a guy that can be flexible, guard 3s, maybe some 4s in a small ball situation, take some pressure off of RJ as well, and really be that guy to help RJ and Mitch defensively out there. So I could definitely make the case for a 3 and D wing at 8.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I would be happy if we got one of those guys too. Kira is just like my personal favorite, as I was saying. But I think for the 8, like, yeah, it would be a reach, and that's why I'm saying if they wanted him, they would have to probably trade back to get him and get more assets to do so. Or Vassell would be a very safe option. Solid 3 and D player. I like, that's what you project him to be. Okoro would probably be, if you're after naming all the guys in the East, when you think if you got a Tatum,
that's just division.
Siakam,
that's just your division.
I know. And so, like, if you're thinking Siakam, Tatum, Kevin Durant, then I'd probably go with Okoro just for be his defensive stopper against all those guys.
Yeah,
I think, but isn't his issue his wingspan too? So would he be able to guard them like with the length? Or
I'm not sure where he weighs out, where he measures out wingspan wise. But to me, the issue is certainly the shooting and the free throw shooting. You know, he's under 67. He's about 67% from the stripe. Gets there a good amount, almost 5 times a game. Obviously, the burst, the athleticism certainly speaks to you. You know what I mean? His playmaking capability. Listen, he's a solid engine, and he'd be a great pickup. But it's just hard to see that fit with RJ struggling to shoot, RJ struggling at the line. Then you're going to bring another kid in here. Kevin Knox is already struggling. Frank is already struggling. It's tough. It's tough for me I'm on board with the Okoro pick if it was him. If they believe in the upside, you know what? Listen, I'm going to bet on this new development staff to see, okay, Walt Perrin's going to say, you know what? I think this is the kid with the highest ceiling. You're going to have Kenny Payne, Johnny Bryant, Tibbs to say, you know what? We're going to get the most out of this kid, and that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? Roll the dice on the upside and get a kid in here that you feel like he could really maximize his potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have more faith in this front office, even though we haven't seen anything yet, just based on the profiles that we got from Johnny Bryant, Walt Perrin. Now we got Kenny Payne, the new KP. You know what I mean? So yeah. I would trust this organization to develop one of those guys. So between those two, then who would you say you really want at 8 then?
Between Vassell, I mean, I wouldn't even count on Naismith, man. Yo, we need some shooting in here, man.
Naismith is a flamethrower from deep.
We need some shooting in here, man. You know, obviously Vassell, his defensive instincts he would take. Like I said, whoever they feel like it has the highest ceiling between Vassell, Okoro, even Naismith, You know, if they feel like his injury is not that serious, they feel like he can come around, and defensively he's not going to kill you. I don't know, man. I gotta watch some more of these games, man. Before I go to my mock draft, I'm releasing my mock draft in early October, man. My big board. I gotta watch more of these games, man. But listen, the overall profile is this: we want to help RJ become a better player, right?
That's for sure.
Yes, we need a point guard. We need that overall engine that's gonna elevate the whole team. But you could also use that wing defender because, like I gave you all those guys that we're gonna be going up against in the division. And even just look defensively in the East at some of the top defenders. It's Siakam. It's Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean? It's Jimmy Butler. It's the freaky. It's the wings, man. The wing is the focus, man. And so I think you could see a situation where maybe they go Vassell or Okoro at 8, and then either they package up 27 and 38 and move up into the 20s and maybe get a Lewis or Maxey or Cole Anthony at the guard to answer the guard position, or maybe they just stay at 27 and go with maybe a Grant Ryler or take a flyer on somebody like that and see who drops out. It was very interesting because on a podcast with Walt Perrin, my guy Ben Anderson, who was on the show, he covers the Utah Jazz for their NBC affiliate. He had Walt Perrin on for a podcast to get his thoughts on the 2020 draft class. And this was a podcast back in April. And Perrin thought that the value is between 15 and 30. He said between 15 and 30, there are about 40 guys that they could be looking at and would be happy to pick if they felt like, he's at the top of their board. Okay. 40 guys they would be looking at between those 15 slots.
I mean, we keep hearing that this is not necessarily like an all-star, like fitted draft, but it's clearly going to have some solid role players and players that are going to contribute to any NBA team. And I was doing a podcast last night and I joked, it's going to come out tomorrow, but I was joking with Jeff Campbell, shout out to him. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like there's more talent that's ready to go into your lineup between like the 15 to 30 round than someone that you want in the 1 through 14 throughout the lottery. So it's interesting that it's probably going to turn out that way. And, you're usually like teams are ready to like take an older player who's like 21, 22, who's probably played 3-4 years college basketball, and that they're going to contribute. You see how far they develop. They're ready to start playing. Right. So do you think like we can get like a Desmond Bane then around that pick, or do you think he's going to be gone? Because that would be a guy
20-something. I think Bane is certainly, from what you're looking at, from the big boards that I'm looking at, Bane could certainly be there. But again, we don't know what their board looks like. You know what I mean? That's the most important.
Yeah, I know. That's
like, according to Walt Perrin, a guy like a Desmond Bane, who some teams may have him in the 25 to 30 range. A guy like Walt Perrin saying, I'm not afraid to take him 15 to 20 if I like him that much.
And that's why we got Walt Perrin in the building, right? It's because he saw Donovan Mitchell, right? And people were not even putting Donovan Mitchell up that high. And he was like, we're going to go for it. That's why, I wouldn't – that's where it comes to saying, like, not worried who they're going to choose at 8. And if they did choose, like, my guy at 8, I'd be like, oh, I'm confident that they see something in him that they're going to work with him. I mean, I guess, like, the other options that we could do with 8, though, is, like, you think we're going to, like, trade up? Do you think we're going to trade back? Like, that's the bigger question.
So let's table the trade. Let's get to Will from LI in the building. Will, how you feeling?
Hey, what's going on, Steve? How you doing today, Alex?
Good, bro. What's going on?
Good. How you doing, man?
I wanted to first start off by saying how proud I was with the NBA and how everybody came together in solidarity and, did what they had to do for the cause. I mean, I feel like people can say whatever they want, but you think of players like Bill Russell. He said that one of his biggest regrets is that after Martin Luther King died, he still played that game for the Celtics, and he wished he went back there and he didn't play the game and he protested. So those players can hang their head high knowing that when the action was called, that they did something. So that's what I'm going to say on that. I won't get too much into it. But when it comes to the picks, though, all right, I have three scenarios. I'm gonna just bang them out so I can let you guys get to the callers. So the first scenario is for Killian Hayes, right? I know that Killian Hayes will not be there at 8 if we stay where we are. So what I'm proposing is that we trade with the Hawks, the team before the Pistons. I think that the Hawks want an Okoro or a Kongwu or even a Tyrese Halliburton. So I feel like those players will still be there at 8 if we jump to 6. So I feel like if they can try to get something like that going on, we can get Killian Hayes. Second one, Keller Lewis. All right. I like him, but I was wondering why he was where he was on draft boards, and I found out why. This kid is undersized. While he is fast like lightning, he is 6'1" and 165 pounds. All right. That he's gonna get bullied on the defensive end. So if we can get Keller Lewis and a Devin Vassell trade up and get those two, I'm okay with that. And then the last one, and I'm ready to get all the hate from the chat, is Lamelo Ball. How do we do it? You got to give up Mitch. You give up Mitch.
Oh, man.
You give up the 8th pick. You give up the 26th pick. And then maybe you throw in a DSJ or something. And then you get the 2nd pick. Listen, I'm going to take all the heat. I know.
Will, I gotta bang it on you now, man. I gotta do it for the chat, man. Later, Will. He's got to go, Al. I pulled the plug on him, man. That's my guy, though. That's my guy. But I got to pull the plug. But let's get into these trade scenarios, and obviously LaMelo is the big one, right? Because to me, if they're trading up, I think number one, I don't think they're gonna be that aggressive. But number two, if they're trading up, LaMelo's the only target.
That's for sure. If you're going to trade up for to get LaMelo at 2, we have to give up Mitch, and it's probably going to involve some 2021 pick as well. And we already heard that the Knicks want to keep the 2021 picks, so I don't see I just don't see that one being like that one prospering. In all honesty, I don't see the Warriors just wanting Mitch. They'd want a lot more. Because they can get, and this is the other thing with 2. I know Spencer said that Denny is like one of their top choices, but James Wiseman, if they want a center, they can go get James Wiseman too. Who they can develop, work with him. He's a rim runner, good shot blocker. So why even I know they can try to get 4, but I just don't see the Knicks wanting to trade Mitch, and especially having to get a haul with Mitch, because it's not just Mitch. Yeah. It's going to be that 8th pick, and it's definitely going to be a 2021 pick. There's no way they're not asking for that too, because they're already in a prime position to get there are better bigs than there are guards in this draft, and I don't see why they would want to give up on that.
The Golden State, they're not going for that. They're trying to get to me, the 2 players at Golden State are going to try to attach this number 2 pick plus next year's Minnesota pick and maybe a Wiggins. I think they're either going to try to get Bradley Beal or they're going to try to get Ben Simmons. Those are only 2 players that are out. I don't even know if they're out there like that, because Elton Brand is saying he's not going to trade Simmons or Embiid, and I tend to believe him there. They're going to have a new coach in there. That new coach is going to want to have his team. They're already, I wouldn't say contending, so to speak, but they're right there. And I think Elton Brand, to keep his job, he's going to want to try to, keep him in that place. So I think Golden State will try to go for Beal or Embiid, and then, or Simmons, sorry. And if not, like you said, they could take Wiseman. Maybe they trade down, and get a Denny or Halliburton. We've heard that they like Halliburton or Denny. A team that wants LaMelo. Is it Detroit? Does Detroit make that move? Does Chicago try to leapfrog Charlotte? Even though Chicago has Kobe White and Levine, do they go for LaMelo? How badly do they want LaMelo? So I don't see us doing it, and I don't see us putting Mitch in any type of trade up.
For sure. And I think of all the teams, Charlotte is probably the wild card. And next to the Cavs, I'm we don't know how this is going to shake up, because we see the Cavs are ready to take point guards, and Charlotte has guards between Rozier and Malik Monk, and they can we have no idea.
Yeah. For Hayes, like I said, I think it comes down to Detroit, and if Detroit doesn't take, I think he'll be there for the Knicks. And so if they have him high up on their board as the best player available, take him. I wouldn't be averse to taking Hayes. I wouldn't be mad at taking Okoro Vassell, the 3-and-D guys. I wouldn't be mad at that. You want Sadiq Bey, you want to throw him in there. I wouldn't be mad at that because you're filling that a need. And I think, again, if you're going with the point guard route, you're starting that process to see what you have here in terms of what you can develop in Hayes.
For sure. I like Killian Hayes. I like between like my top two guards are Lamelo Ball and Killian Hayes. And like if we had the chance to get Lamelo Ball, we would like prior to the lottery, I was like, we got to do it. But part of me always wanted to like take Killian Hayes too. I like Killian Hayes just because of his shooting. He has that comp. People are comparing him to like a D'Angelo Russell. And I just like that. I think his shooting will get better. I know it wasn't like the percentages weren't great, but he's got a strong body. He's willing to take contact. He's a good playmaker. You know, his flaw though is that he's very left-hand dominant. Right. You know, he barely uses his right hand, and he just has to get better at shooting. Yeah. And he has to be a little bit more, not say aggressive, but just be a little more aware on defense too. Yeah. But I like Hayes. I just don't see Detroit like passing up. They're the other team that needs a guard. If they're gonna take a guard, they got to take it. And I think the issue though with trying to trade with the Hawks is that what are we trading with the Hawks? Like exactly. I don't know what they don't. The only person I could possibly see them trading is who's their big
Collins?
No, not Collins. No.
Capella.
No, they're trying to keep Capella. I'm trying to figure out who. Hold on. You gotta give me a second on
Biggs
this one.
On the Hawks. Biggs.
Or is it who is it? Yeah, Dwayne Dedman.
He's only like. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like that's the only guy I see that they would be wanting to like potentially give up because he's the only one on like a long year deal. I would assume they want to keep Clint Capella. He's gonna have 3 more years on his contract. He's a rim runner. They need a center. Why even just like give him? We already got Clint Capella. So that's the only type of guy like if we're gonna take like. He's not expiring, but a guy on a contract that you may want to dump because most of those guys are on like pretty palpable deals. So I just don't see because unless they really want like Knox with DSJ or like I don't see us being able to like that's not gonna like woo them over unless we also got then we probably have to give them like a draft pick as well on top of that. You know what I mean? So maybe we give them unless you want to give up the 8th and potentially like the 27th to go up those 2 spots. Or they may want the 2021, which then again, I just don't see that one really happening. I can see us trying to trade with like the Cavs because they probably want to get rid of Kevin Love. But I just don't see it with the Hawks.
Listen, I think Killian Hayes, he's shown some flashes. I saw some of his games this season. Definitely needs a lot of work. There's no doubt about it. He needs work. You know, for the people saying slow, he might not have the athleticism, but he could make up for that by just being crafty. And just having that IQ, you see what Luka's doing out there on the court. You know, like you, I love speed as well. I love Fox, and I love speed. But there's something to admire about guys just being able to find those angles and creating those angles to create that separation. And I think Hayes will have to do that to compensate for his lack of foot speed. But he's definitely going to be a project. But again, if that's who they like on their board. Let's see what happens. Maybe at 27, then maybe you go a Tyler Bay if he's available at that slot. Again, it's all about options.
Sure.
It's all about options. So let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Ken. Ken from New York. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How you feeling, bro?
What's going on, Ken?
Cool, man. I just want to say first and foremost, just want to express and acknowledge the very deep and palpable grief that so many others and I continue to feel as the country remains divided among those who look a lot like me and you and a lot of the players that populate the league and those who believe in this fallacy that there's some inherent quality that, justifies the mistreatment of our people and the killing of our people, what this country continues to display concerning minorities, egregious, to say the least. But, in the wake of that, we will do what we do. So let me just get to this. I know you guys got a bunch of callers. So my first scenario is it actually has to deal with us staying at number 8. And so basically the needs that this team would have to address. some of the major needs would be either a floor general or a floor spacer. So us staying at 8, I don't see that we're going to get a franchise player or a floor general for the foreseeable future. And if you're really trying to get a point guard to grow with a team that you're trying to get to grow, period, you really don't want the development of a point guard who has to orchestrate that offense to really hinder the growth of a lot of other players that are kind of, dependent on that one player. So the player that I do want to draft at number 8 is actually going to be Aaron Nesmith, the small forward. The reason being, 6'6", 6'11" wingspan. He fulfills a need that would not only translate to the NBA, but it'll translate immediately because he's already displayed that he has an NBA range, and the hoops are 10 feet no matter where you are. You know what I'm saying? 52% from 3 on 8 attempts per game is very high volume, high efficiency. So I trust him. If you look at the advanced stats, it even shows that he shoots 41% from NBA 3. It's 82% from the line, so you know it's legit. 51% from the field, 23 points per game. Like, the kid's got it going on. And a lot of people, the knock that they'll have on him, not so much a knock, but they'll say his weakness is his defense. The kid has a 6'11" wingspan at 6'6". It's kind of reminiscent of Frank Ntilikina. I know I'm going to get a lot of love from for getting a Frank shout out here, but being that, just off his tools alone, the kid averaged 1 block and a steal and a half off tools alone. You throw that in Tibbs' team defense and his system, I see him flourishing. And I'm a big Devin Vassell fan as well, but I just feel like the things that you're going to have to teach either one of those players, I would probably bet on Aaron Nesmith picking up lateral quickness in the NBA and just, fundamentals of defense for on-ball defense quicker than I would bet on Devin Vassell becoming a shot creator, because he's a beautiful defender, and I love his tape. I loved his game tape against Duke. I thought he was a dog, and he was playing against elites, and he really goes after it. He could score, but the thing is, I see Aaron Nesmith, and I see a 3-and-D player with the ability to put the ball on the floor maybe after his first season a little bit more than he's shown in the past couple years. And I just think that's something that you don't pass up when this guy's shooting at such a high clip. So with us staying at that number 8 pick, I say that with our next pick, number 27, we would have the ability to attach a cheap asset. I don't really want to touch any of the Dallas picks, but maybe, a player that's sitting on the end of our bench, maybe a second rounder, whatever we can muster up, to then move up that 27 to something in the late teens, early 20s, to then we could pick up somebody that a lot of people are a big fan of in Keller Lewis. And although I am a big Keller Lewis fan, I will mention him. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I'm sorry. I'm not here to speak about Keller because I know he gets a lot of love. What I am going to mention that if we do look to get a guard with that next pick, which hopefully we'd be able to move up from 27 to maybe like a 17, 19, not sure what the draft order is to give a serious look at Cole Anthony, because although a lot of people knock on him, I will say for a fan base that excuses RJ Barrett's poor shooting percentages due to the lack of talent and outside floor spacing, we're awfully critical of Cole Anthony.
It's fair.
Because, given the context of the work that he's done, he's proven that he could do what we need him to do, which is penetrate, drive, and kick, proven that he has an outside shot, proven that he could collapse defenses. And I just feel like, if you put him in a situation that'll work for him, if we go out and we get a Bertans at the 4 and then we get a Nesmith at the 3, it'll open up the floor, and then you'll really start to see the potential that the kid shows, because he came in as a 5-star, probably one of the highest recruits, top 4 lock early on. But I'll leave it at that. I'll cut it off so you guys can just talk amongst that.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
So
this was Ken's point on Aaron Nesmith. Listen, I think it's an interesting debate. I think it's an interesting debate. My guy, Troy Benjamin, Yes Network. He had when we were talking about
top 4 lock early on.
This is
I'll leave it at
hold
that. I'll
on.
cut it off so you guys can just talk.
Ken's listening to the call. Let me put him on mute here. So I was saying, my guy Troy Benjamin, he threw this stat in there. We were talking about the whole Nesmith, Sadiq Bey, Vassell topic in terms of the wings. 3-point volume per 40 minutes. Aaron Nesmith, 9 per game at 52% from 3.
That's a flamethrower. That's a flamethrower.
That's a flamethrower, bro. So, injuries are concerned. Some people call him a one-trick pony. I don't know how fair or unfair that is, but the shooter numbers are there, man. You know what I mean?
It is.
The shooting numbers are there.
And this team needs shooting. Like, we did not have any 3-point shooting, so I wouldn't be upset if we took Naismith. He does have that injury concern, but sometimes it just happens once, and you're lucky enough where it doesn't happen again, or it's just something minor. But I feel like if we're gonna go with a 3-and-D dude, I would love to see Naismith like on the team. Like that means we have confidence that he's going to stay healthy, that he can improve his defense. I mean, I'll say this about steals. Steals are like they're great, but you know, people knock on like Steph Curry for getting like a lot of steals, and they say he doesn't play a lot of defense, and he's like a middling defender. So steals don't necessarily translate into being a good defender.
No,
but with him, you would hope that he can get better, like just playing like help defense, just being able to be around the ball. Like,
yeah,
that's what you're hoping for. You're taking that bet. You know, it kind of goes like even with like an Obi Toppin, but that whole scenario, like a guy who needs to be engaged on defense, who we haven't seen engaged on defense, and defense is a lot of effort. So if you have hope that we can get like Naismith to be getting up that gear, I'd be more than willing to take him. But I think we're better off taking a Devin Vassell and then hoping for him, who already plays defense, who is gritty. He fit with that gritty mentality. He has a high motor that already just screams tips. So I would see them going with like Vassell first if they're gonna stay at 8 and just take him, and then you know, because you can improve on your shooting. We've seen players improve on their shooting. Frank's improved on his shooting. We've seen LeBron improve on his shooting. There's so many players that can improve on their shooting, and I think that you can bet on that rather than trying to bet on someone's defense improving. That's a tall order to some extent.
I agree with you, man. And then listen, on the Cole Anthony topic, listen, I think this kid's gonna come in with a chip on his shoulder, man. I think he got caught a raw deal last year, his freshman season. I think people were very, very critical of the kid. I wouldn't sleep on him. And I wouldn't mind them taking him if they find him there at 27. I doubt he'll be there that low. But if for some reason they wanted to package up 27 and 38, you know, I wouldn't mind it. Whether it's Kira, whether it's Cole, if they feel like going up Maxey. But based on what Walt Perrin is saying, he seems like he's good with wherever he picks. He's gonna find his guy, man. That's what, you know. Just based on this interview that I heard from him and other interviews with Knicks front office, it doesn't seem like they're gonna be that aggressive in terms of trading up. You know, whether it's for an established player or just trading up into the first round. I'm not so sure.
Well, we saw the report already. They're trying to maintain as many assets as possible. And so trading up means you have to give up some assets, and they're probably not trying to do that right now, especially with the new coach, you know, a new front office. They probably see guys that they like, that they can believe can add to the foundation of this team. So you're only trading up if you really believe someone is going to be that key contributor, and you know you have to go get for him. But we're hearing that this is not that type of draft. So then why would we move up? Why would we waste assets just to move up? And especially if we're hearing that, you know, Walt Perrin is comfortable with anyone within that range. So then it just doesn't seem likely
to me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's really going to happen then.
Doesn't seem likely to me. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. The chat is going off tonight. We got 874 people checking in on YouTube. So to everybody watching on Facebook as well. And time to pay some bills, Al. So with that being said, tonight's show is brought to you by the beautiful people at Manscaped. Al, listen, man, social distancing is starting to dwindle down. Before you go out with your loved one, with that lovely lady, make sure you take care of the family jewels, man, and that is with Manscaped, the #1 male grooming product below the belt. It comes with super skin-safe technology, ceramic blade, and LED light. It's wireless, carries a long battery time. You can use it in the shower. And listen, man, this is the go-to, man. Keep you real smooth, feeling like Michael Jordan down there, man. You're good to go. Go out on that date, impress the lady, you know what I mean? And go home and have a fantastic time. So she will thank you for it later. And on tonight's show, for all the viewers out there, we're going to give you guys 20% off plus free shipping with promo code Knicks. So go to manscaped.com, www.manscaped.com, promo code Knicks, and get 20% off and free shipping off of your order. And listen, man, good salute to everybody at Manscaped, bro. Great product. Definitely a great product. All right, let's hear from some more callers. Let's hear from Ari in the building. Ari, what's going on,
boy. Man? Here we go.
Yo, what's up? Yo, Alex.
What up, man? Go ahead, bro.
What's going on?
CP, I told you I know Alex, right?
yeah. So, yo, Alex, I mean, this guy Ari's been bragging about, his basketball skills and everything, man. Is he nice or what, man?
Keep it a buck, Alex. Tell the truth.
Is he nice or what, Alex? Tell us the story, man.
I'll give you this right now about Ari. Ari's got a crazy crossover. He's sly with it. He comes into the gym. He's wearing the New Balance. You're thinking like, I got this guy. And then next thing you know, he gives you that crossover. You're just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I'll give you that about Ari Swat with that
Allen
one.
Iverson over here, bro. That's what it is.
I'll give you that, Ari. You called me. I remember caught me off guard with that one. I'll tell you
that. Go ahead, Ari. What's your point on the draft, man?
So, there's like a little echo, but basically, listen, man. I'll be honest with you. Like with this whole, it's been hard for me to watch Trey Burke go off and watch like Enes Kanter play well and like. See like Marcus Morris hit big threes and stuff, and it's just like I'm just kind of like I don't understand how like when it comes to the draft first of all I learned that we haven't moved up once in the past 35 years since Ewing. That's true. That's true that we haven't moved up once. We
have not moved up in the draft since 1985, Alex. All we've done is stand pat or move back. We have not moved up in the lottery one time since 1985.
About a curse. That's a curse.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, listen, and here's the other thing. It's like I was listening to the lottery show that you guys had with that the scouts and stuff, and it's like, every year we always have our draft board, right? And everyone makes their picks, and then there's always a pick after where the Knicks pick that it hits a superstar, right? Like if you look at the league, like Kawhi, Paul George, like. So many players are picked after 8. Like Kobe was picked after 8. Paul Pierce was picked after 8. Like we could still get a very, very, very good player at 8. The only problem is the Knicks always make the wrong choice. Like seriously, like I don't want that French kid because we already have another French kid who's fucking terrible. So I don't want the French kid, and like. I could just see them making that move. Like, this is why I get frustrated as a Knicks fan. It's like, you see all these teams, like the Denver Nuggets, for example, or the Utah Jazz, or whatever. All these teams have guys I never heard of. Like, I didn't even know Duncan Robinson existed until like 2 weeks ago. Where the hell did that guy come from? Why can't the Knicks ever get someone like that? That's good scouting. One time.
That's good scouting.
One time in the past 25 years, you can't get someone like that. Like, and that's why I get upset. And with regard to this draft, in my personal opinion, I'm kind of with Will from LI, man. I would trade Mitch in number 8 to move up to number 2 and get Lamelo Ball.
Yeah, but Golden State's not giving you that, though, so it wouldn't matter.
It's not.
That's tough.
It wouldn't matter. Appreciate the call,
I
man.
would.
Appreciate the call, man. Listen, it's not going to matter, man. Golden State's not going to give you that deal.
They are going to look for – they have so many other options.
Ton of options.
So, like you already said, if they want Bradley Beal or anyone else, they'd rather go get that player than try to come get Mitch. Mitch still needs to develop. We haven't even seen anything hopefully close to the final product that Mitchell Robinson could be. And that's what I'm saying. If they just want a center, just draft Wiseman. If you want a project, you want to work on somebody, go draft Wiseman. Like that, it doesn't make sense to trade with the Knicks and just take Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, right. He's a rim runner, great shot blocker, but there's just more that you'd have to work on. Yeah. And with Wiseman, I know he didn't play that much, but we saw glimpses that he may have a decent jumper. He just has to work on it. So why not just go with him instead?
Golden State, they want to win now piece. And they're not going to go for that. They're not going to go for that. In terms of, listen, he applauded the Jazz for their roster, right? For their unknown gems. Well, Walt Perrin had a heavy hand in it. We'll see what happens here. They got to do their homework, man. That's just the bottom line. They got to do their homework. They got to draft better, and they have to develop. For sure. And on the Trey Burke and Kanter thing, listen, that's just a product of them being on better teams. So when they're on better teams, they're not relied on to do as much as when they're on the Knicks. like Moutier and all these other guys, and Randall and all these other guys. These guys go to other teams where they're their 7th, 8th option, just fit in and do your thing.
For sure. We had Tim Hardaway as like our number 1 option for like 2 years. That's after KP went down. Like, he was good being KP's like wingman. I remember like for like the beginning of like that 2017 season under Hornacek, he was doing a good job. And then once KP went out, it was just a nightmare. And then 2018, who else did we have? Him and Trey Burke just trying to work it. And like, we get lucky on some nights with those guys just like going off. But as you said, especially when you got Luka and then you got, like, I know KP hasn't been playing during the playoffs, but when you have those type of guys who can just take that burden off you and they can get into your rhythm and find your place and find your shots, and it's just opening up because you're not having the best defender like guard you, or you're not guarding the best defender. Like when Tim Hardaway was on the team, like he'd get 30 points but give up like 40. Like he was like a net zero, man. So like, and he doesn't have to do that in Dallas.
Facts.
So he can do that. I mean, it stinks when you start seeing these guys like play well on like other teams, but it's just a product of the team. Like,
it's just a product of the team, man.
You can't just get to play. Cantor has to play with like Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. Like, Daniel Tice is like a better center than he is, and it's just like with like just grab it like defensively. And so Cantor can just be that 8th guy and just be okay at that 8th guy. Like, he was not that. We were relying on him to be like one of our top 3 dudes, and he's just not fit for that role.
Yeah, that's it, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You're creeping up, Al, on 900 people in the chat. Salute to everybody watching. Let's get those thumbs up. We got 212 likes. Let's get to 500. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that like button. Salute to everybody supporting. We got a ton of super chats in here. Definitely want to shout out Raw Hebrew Remnant. Appreciate the super chat. Money Mark says if we pick at 8, then Vassell has to be the pick. 3 and D is what the Knicks need to complement Mitch and RJ. Salute KnicksFanTV. Appreciate it, Money Mark. Raw Hebrew Remnant says, all due respect, I completely disagree. Frank can very well be our point guard of the future. Stay at 8. Pick a wing. Obi, Vassell, Okoro. I'm still going with the point guard until Frank proves otherwise. He can come off the bench until then and still serve a good role. You know what I mean? Still serve a valuable role. He can still come off the bench and be a utility man. We'll see what Tibbs gets out of him, but I'm not counting on him to be the starting point guard of the team. Gartrell Davis sends us a super chat. 2 super chats. He says, can we take 27-38 and move up for Kyra, Maxey, or Cole? I think we had touched on that earlier. It's possible. We got to see what teams would be interested in trading. And we're going to get to the trade down scenarios in a minute, but it's certainly possible. Park City Dion says, I would like to trade with ATL to jump Detroit for Killian. So he's in on the Killian trade. If not, take Obi or Vassell. Okay. And then Payback Carter sends us a super chat as well. I can't read the comment, but just not able to see it. But Payback definitely appreciate it. All right, let's take another call, and then we'll get to the trade down scenarios. Let's go to JJ from Brooklyn. What's going on, bro?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
How you feeling, bro?
Well, basically, one of the calls earlier actually stole what I wanted to say was I want Naismith too, man. We need a knockdown shooter we could put at the 2 and then move RJ to the 3. You know, to shoot over 52% from 3 and over 8 attempts a game, that's pretty ridiculous. He's definitely not the defender that Vassell is, but, you know, we'll work with it, you know, to shoot like that. And then also, I just hope we do not trade up. I just don't want to touch any future picks, especially next year. Obviously, our picks should be off limits. Even the Mavs pick, you know, we see KP still injury prone. They're in a tough Western Conference. Look, they were, the 7th seed, and the Warriors were injured. They didn't make the playoffs. Phoenix is going to be much improved. New Orleans, even Minnesota. And then now I have an outside-the-box trade suggestion. Obviously, we need a point guard. What if we traded for John Wall only if they gave us an unprotected pick in next year's great draft? We got to think like outside the box, I think. What do you think about something like that?
Unprotected first. Let's see what John Wall's contract is looking like these days. It's pretty horrendous, but let's just see. Let's take a look at how much he's got left. What's John Wall dealing with these days? So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's see this John Wall contract, how much he's got left. He has. He signed a 4-year, $170 million contract last season. Oh, man. So he's got a ways to go. He's got a ways to go, fam.
Yep. My God. If people are hating the CP3 contract.
Yeah, if you're hating the CP3 contract, oh, boy. So he's got a 15% trade kicker, first and foremost. So, you know, he's coming in at $40 million for next season. So add 15% into that, and you get him that.
You know, I think I saw that the Knicks, if they got rid of everybody who was on the 1-year contracts, we'd have somewhere close to 50 mil in cap space.
It says 44.9.
44.9 is what we're projected to have?
I'm pretty sure it's 44.9 if we renounced all those guarantees.
Okay, so then we just filled that space right there with John Wall. That's not that won't happen.
John Wall and a bunch of minimum contracts, man. Go buy some second-round picks. Hey, listen,
man.
If you're looking to tank for 2021, that might be your best option, man.
If you want to tank, but can we even sign anyone after that then?
No. His contract is crazy. He's 41 plus a trade kicker for next season, 44 in 2021, 2022, and then you got 47 in 2022, 2023, $47 million for John Wall. Player option. So he's taking that.
Oh, he is.
So that's
definitely
3 years guaranteed. Now that's going to cost Washington about 5 unprotected lottery picks for that.
No way that's happening. Also, we haven't seen him play in like a year and a half, close to 2 years now, I feel like. And he tore his Achilles.
2 years.
So I don't even know how he's able to, we haven't even seen him play. So then why, I would not even gamble on that with the contract and not even seeing him play. I'll take a hard pass.
Yeah. Here was a trade that I liked. And shout out to Macri. He was on the Knicks Film School newsletter. What if you could land Bogdan Bogdanović in a player swap, pick swap, draft day blockbuster?
That'd be a good move. I mean, Bogdanović is a good player. I think in that newsletter, Macri talked about that he's not necessarily like one of the best shot creators for himself, right? If I remember that piece correctly, phenomenal trade scenario. I would do it.
Yeah. Because
we add shooting at that point. But then I'm curious to see like what the contract would be.
You got to pay him.
If we how much are we giving him? And all of this is like trading for him. And if you want to get Van Vliet and all these other guys, this is the issue with like even talking about free agency. We have no idea what the direction of this team is yet, and what the cap is even going to be too. So like we don't know who the team really wants to keep yet. We don't know who they want to like work around. There's just so many question marks. But I would do that trade though because I think we still need shooting, and if we're going to feature RJ, right, like even just for next year, and RJ may not be the number one option. You want him like as a 2 or 3. That will just help him out tremendously, just being able to attack the lane and attack the rim and being able to finish. Because we saw this past season, we had no shooters and he was still doing like a decent job, just like going into a brick wall. So I'd do that trade.
Yeah, it depends on what it would be, but I think the proposal would be 8 swapping 8 for 12. Potentially DSJ, things like that. Hey, you never know. But, with the whole Scott Perry thing as well, obviously he's probably less likely, because like is Scott Perry going to go to Sacramento? So then is he trading with himself, basically? I don't know. That could be a conflict of interest there. But, Bogdanović that'd be an intriguing trade depending on how they package it.
That, first of all, that'd be coming full circle, right? We traded for Scott Perry and then we're trading him back.
Trading him back, yeah.
And if we got to pick out of that, oh my God.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, speaking of future picks, let's talk about potentially trading down. Now, I was never really a fan of trading down. Like, I always feel like if you're there, you see a player that you like, pick them. Don't get cute. You know what I mean? You don't want to end up with egg on your face because you passed on a guy that another team wanted. He turned out to be a beast because we need everything on this team. But, going back to what Perrin said in terms of finding that value between 15 and 30, if we're at 8, if you look at between 8 and, say, from the Knicks pick to Portland, are there teams that may want to trade up for an Obi or an Okoro if he's there at 8, right? Like you mentioned Tice with Boston. Would they be intrigued at trading up? They have 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
They have 14, they have 30, and they have, I'm missing one, 26. They have 14, they have 26, they have 30, right?
Yep.
Remember, these are first-round picks. These is guaranteed money. This is salary on your cap. When they've already paid Jaylen Brown, they got to pay Tatum. They already paid Kemba. So
they already paid Hayward.
They already paid Hayward. Well, Hayward's going to be a free agent. Right?
Oh, he's going to be free? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be a free agent. But the point is, are you really going to, put in 3 first-round picks into that mix when you got to consider you got to sign Tatum next? So you never know. 14, Boston could be intriguing. If Boston gives you 14 and 26, let's say for 8, who knows? Again, it depends on who they like. You know what I mean? It depends on who they like there.
I'm just curious as to who would Boston be looking to take because they got 2 wings.
Yeah.
Are they looking for a center? Are they looking for someone to back up Kemba or like to learn under Kemba?
Yeah.
I guess that's the question. And if they're moving up to 8, would like a Tyrese Halliburton be like their guy that they're looking for then? Like, is that someone that they
Halliburton, maybe an Obi?
Yeah.
Does Okongwu slip that far? I don't know.
I don't think Okongwu slips that far, but I could see them like especially if you're losing out on Akira. Not Akira. You're losing out on Killian or Lamelo, and they want Halliburton's been getting a lot of praise too as being like a good point guard. He's a connector, and like if you need someone to connect the ball between Brown and Tatum, he could potentially fit in that type of that atmosphere, right? Yeah. So if that's a question, and I would not be surprised if Danny Ainge decided to make that move because, as you pointed out, that's 3 players that they got to pay. That's more players on the books, and they paid Kemba, they paid Brown, they got to pay Tatum. So I don't know if they want to pay that many guys. They would definitely be willing probably to not
just something to throw out there, right? New Orleans at 13, could they potentially be looking for a player? I'm just thinking like if we get to 8, is there a prospect, as you said, that a team would be willing to trade up for? And I'm thinking it would be a guy that's ready to contribute right now. Maybe like does Portland needs wing defense?
Yeah, that would be. They would take like I could see them trading up and taking like an Okoro or Vassell and saying we need that wing because they're showing in the playoffs that they need it.
Yeah, Melo's not going to get it done for you at the 3 on the defensive end.
It's not, and Trevor Ariza, like he was like fulfilling that role until he decided not to play.
Trevor's done his days. Let's be honest. He's pretty much washed now. He's done his days. They need some youth there.
For sure, but he was holding up for them this season and just doing a solid job. So you could see them like wanting to come up and take one of those guys, or maybe even like an Aaron Naismith and just add to the shooting. So I could see them that would be very intriguing to see what Portland wants to do that day.
Yeah, and
I could see them, especially if they want to wing with those 3 guys right there, because there's no way any of them are going to fall down to 16. I could see them trying to make that trade. Yeah, and then at that point, the Knicks probably are happy with like Kira or someone like that.
Right. Again, if they see that value there in Akira, Cole, or Maxey in that range, and they can get another pick at 26, still have 27. Now you're adding some depth. Yeah, maybe you stash a guy. Maybe they go Balmero as a draft and stash. See him in a couple of years after he's developed some more.
Yeah,
options, right?
For sure,
options.
For trading with New Orleans, because that Macri touched on that too. I think he proposed Lonzo Ball in that deal. What do you feel about that?
Lonzo for what though? I'm not trading anything crazy for Lonzo, man.
I have to let me pull it up real quick and see what the proposed trade was.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Would you take a Lonzo Ball? Would you be interested in trading for Lonzo? $11 million coming to him next season. Yeah, I'd take it. I'd take it better than Peyton.
I mean, a lot of things would be better. A lot of things would be better than Peyton, right? So the proposed trade was the 8th and the 27th for the 13th, 39th, and Lonzo.
8th and the 27th, 13, 39. No, then you're talking about 13, a second round pick and lot. 8 and 27.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I don't know, man. It depends on who's at 8. Like I said, if they feel like Okoro can be the next, Jimmy Butler here, then no, I'm gonna take him. Mm-hmm. Again, I gotta see what do these guys feel like these guys' ceilings are gonna be. How high do they rate them on their draft board? For 13, second round pick and Lonzo.
And then you got to pay Lonzo too.
You got to pay Lonzo. See, I'm trying to bring Lonzo in on a buy low situation where it's basically a tryout.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a tryout to see if he can be an option at the point. But I don't think I would go 8 and 20. I wouldn't give him my 2 first rounders for him. 13 second. I would pass on that.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that one either.
Yeah.
Just because he also doesn't add shooting. Like he improved his shooting, but he doesn't add shooting to the team. So that'd be a tough pill to swallow.
It would be a tough pill to swallow, man. Let's take some more chats. How many people we got in the chat? 980 out. We are creeping up. 980. We're at 984. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that. Let's get those likes up. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. It's right there under the video. Hit that thumbs up button. Share these videos. If you're new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new so we can shout you guys out. Also, remember these shows are available in podcast format, so you have no excuse to miss it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. It's everywhere. Just search for KnicksFanTV, and you'll always find it. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got 293 likes. Let's get this up to 500 before we go. And appreciate everybody for the support. All right, let's get back to the phones. Adele from Fresh Meadows, how you feeling?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
What's up?
CP?
Yo. Yeah, go ahead with your point, bro. Go ahead with your point, bro.
Oh, what up? Hey, what up? What up, CP? I did the Manscaped thing. Thank you, man. Gave myself a belated Father's Day gift.
Good, man. Good, man. Good. I'm glad it's working out for you, bro.
All right. So, hey, man. Now that I'm on the phone, I have to wait. All right.
He's been waiting so long he forgot his point.
With our players that we currently have in the G League, like Iggy, Peterson, and Wooten, what are the plans for them? Or what do you think? How we're going to utilize them, and comparing them to players in the draft now? Supposedly it's weak. I keep on hearing that over and over again, which I don't mind. I'm cool with getting role players. If we could raid the draft and get a whole bunch of role players and get hopefully a star next year, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a slow build, and appreciate the call, man. I'm glad you got your Manscaped gift as well. Listen, when it comes to Peters, we got to look at these guys' contracts because I'm not even sure if they're under control by the Knicks. We know they got Jared Harper on a 2-way, and they're going to have to make a decision on him, I think, by October. Once the league business for the new year starts, they're going to have to make a decision on him.
Yep.
Lamar Peters had agreed to a non-guaranteed contract with the Knicks last summer. I think that was just a 1-year deal, bro. I don't think it was anything crazy. So they would have to sign him to a training camp contract and then see what they want to do with him. Iggy will be here.
Yep.
Kenny Wooten signed the other two-way.
Yep.
Now, is that good for next season as well? Or what's it say?
I think it's good for next season as well. It starts
2-year deal.
Yep. It starts for 2 years. So
2-year deal.
I forget how two-way contracts actually. I forget how two-way contracts work, but he will be around for next season.
Yeah. So two-way contracts, they're basically allowed to spend 45 days with the main roster. 45 days, not games. 45 days with the main roster. And they'll bounce back and forth to the G League. So I think Wooten may get a consideration, but for guys like a Peters, Peters, he'll have to come into training camp and either lock in, be impressed with his play, or say you have some catastrophic injuries to 2 out of your 3 guards on the depth chart, and maybe bring in a Peters. So, that's the options there. But now you're looking at potentially 3 first-round picks again. So you're going to add that to the depth. I wouldn't mind them going out and maybe purchasing a second-round pick or 2 in the next round. Or maybe they do that in 2021 when the pool's a bit deeper, from what you hear.
Yeah, that would be a good option.
Yeah, grow that prospect pool, man. Grow that prospect pool and expand your options. Because this is the show about options, Alex. Number 1 show for the fans, by the fans. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Remember, this show is brought to you by Manscaped. You just heard my guy Adele say, perfect segue, Alex. Perfect segue. My guy Adele from Fresh Meadows just copped it, late Father's Day gifts. And you can get yours too, man. Go to manscaped.com. Promo code Knicks for 20% off plus free shipping. And like I said, man, this comes with skin-safe technology. You don't have to worry about cutting yourself with the other brand razors that you use for your head. It's cordless, wireless, long battery life, LED light, it's aerodynamics, got a good grip on it, so you don't have to worry about, slipping in anything. And you can use it in the shower. It is waterproof. So once again, manscaped.com, promo code Knicks for 20% off and free shipping. All right, so let's get to a couple more calls. Real quick, the super chat. So Payback Carter's 2 comments on the super chat. He said, I seen a trade scenario that could happen if the Knicks trade 8th pick to Boston and get 14, 26, and 30. Okay, so we touched on that. Delsky says, would you guys be willing to trade the 8th pick and our 2nd round pick and DSJ for Lonzo? No way. And Payback Carter, the last comment I couldn't see because it's cut off on my screen. So we'll get to that when the next super chat comes in. All right, a couple more calls before we wrap. Let's go to the Bronx here from Mario. Mario, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what up?
How you doing?
Man, been following you guys for a couple of years, man.
Appreciate it, bro. Go ahead with your point, bro.
Appreciate it.
Listen, I'm going to make it quick, but a couple of things, man. Don't give me Vassell. I know you guys are big on Vassell. That's Courtney Lee 2.0. We don't want him here. I know you guys are big on him. All the guys in the stream are big on him. But no. Another thing, I've been hearing that Golden State is interested in Franklin Nicolina. What you think about maybe packaging him, Julius Randle, and a future Dallas pick, maybe to move up in the draft? I think that's a good idea. But if we stay pat, I think if Obi Toppin falls to us at 8, I think that's the way to go, because that's I'm from the era of the dog in the 90s with John Starks and everybody, and I think that's where you want to go. And I think Obi's good at 8, and then maybe getting a late teen another pick and maybe drafting Cole Anthony. What you think about that?
Yeah, but Mario, man, if you want a dog, you want some defense, man. If we want dogs in here, we want defense.
Nah.
I mean that's gonna be Vassell. Oh,
we got defense. We got a great coach, man. He's gonna bring out the defense.
He's not playing, bro. He's not. Yo, Mario, appreciate the call, man. I gotta bang it on Mario, man. Al, Mario came in hot, right? He came in hot. He's like, forget Vassell, y'all are bugging. So I'm thinking he's coming with in a core, he's coming with something else that's like that you could vibe with. But then he's like, well, we need some dogs, and I want John Starks, but I want Obi. I'm like, Obi is not close to Starks if we go an analogy here. And then he says, trade Frank and Julius at number 8 for number 2.
Yeah, if the Warriors would take that, I would be impressed.
Hey, if the Warriors took that trade, Mario, Scott Perry for president, man. That's it.
Build that man a statue.
Build that man a statue quickly.
Yo, if that happened, that would never happen. By the way, that I don't even know. I can't even see the Warriors being serious. If we even picked up the phone and said, "Hey, we're gonna trade you Julius Randle, Frank Ntilikina," they'd be like, "All right,
I'll ship him there personally." Man, yeah. Mario had me hyped, man. I was excited, bro. I wanted to see where he was pivoting. You know, he was telling, "Don't worry about Vassell. I got a guy for you." You know. No, but I do think that Obi will be there. I think Obi might drop.
I think so too.
The defense does scare me, for sure. I think they are trying to trade Randall. I've mentioned this on a past few shows. I think from what I heard, again, this is just rumor. I heard they may try to package Randall and try to get Conley and a future pick. That's the trade that I'm hearing. Bombshell, breaking news, KnicksFanTV, #1 show for the fans by the fans. That's a rumor that I'm hearing from a very reliable source. So we'll see.
I mean, I would take that if we could trade Julius Randle to get Mike Conley, and then if we could draft a guard to learn from Mike Conley and talk about. And if you want to talk about a dude who was just like a legit project for like 5 years, that's Mike Conley. But I like the way that I think the fit. I don't know what happened with him in Utah, but he's now starting to bring it together. But
yeah,
I would take that in a heartbeat. If we're gonna trade Julius Randle and get a pick out of that, sign me up.
Yeah, I would take it. You know, I would take it. 30 mil. He's got, I think, another year or 2 left on his deal. I got to check that. I think the timelines match up. We'll see, man. Well, good call, Mario, man. You know, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Appreciate it. Definitely call back. That was a good call, man. We needed
that. Was great.
Yeah,
always need some comedy.
Absolutely, man. All right, Raw Hebrew Remnant in here. What's going on, man?
Hey, fellas, look, real quick. Golden State. I think people are overlooking a big elephant in the room with Golden State. Everybody's looking in terms of players. If the Golden State Warriors were going to just keep the draft pick, to me, it's a no-brainer. You take Wiseman and you move on. But the fact that the thing is in play, people forget they're going to pay almost $50 million in luxury tax. They have $148 million salary, and then they're going to lose revenue, and they still got to pay the debt service on the new stadium. People are losing that fact. They're trying to get rid of Wiggins' contract for something cheaper or shorter term. That's what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're going to do. I had scenarios in my mind, but that's what they're trying to do. I could see them trading with Chicago, for example, for Otto Porter, who has a $28 million player option, but it's expiring. So they would get rid of Wiggins and replace him with Otto Porter, and then they just got to pay the tax 1 year and don't have to pay it again. And then they can get Lamelo over there to Chicago, and they might want to draft somebody else like Denny or somebody. I don't know, but people are missing that point. This is about business. This is not about players. The second thing is with the Knicks. I'm not, obviously, you know very well. I'm the biggest Frank fan out there, so I'm not trying to trade Frank. I'm not looking for a point guard. I'm thinking, though, we take either whoever's available between Obi, Vassell, and Okoro at 8. Probably it'll be either Obi or Vassell. I think Okoro goes to Cleveland.
Yeah, I think so.
After that, I'm wondering if we can package Julius Randle and a future pick for this guy Nesmith later on in the draft. What do you guys think about that?
I think it depends on which slot. You know, and who would want him? Again, is Sacramento possible where you do an 8 for 12 swap, and maybe you take on some salary, and maybe get an additional pick as well. I think it depends. But like I said, I think watch out for the Utah one. I don't know if it's they're at 23. I don't know if it's for a first round pick in this draft. or if it's a future pick. But let's see right now. Like just looking at this tankathon right now, maybe would Sacramento want Randall? San Antonio wouldn't. Phoenix wouldn't. New Orleans wouldn't. Boston probably not. They don't need him. Portland, no, they got Zach Collins and Nurkic.
Yep.
I still think Randall off the bench would be a good addition for them. They were lacking that like more offense off the bench. I felt Trent did his thing for sure, but I think in the end, they flamed out a little bit. Maybe Sacramento again. Maybe a 8-12, swap with Sacramento would potentially get it done with other players as well. Obviously, not just Randall and 8 for 12. Obviously, you're not going to do that. It's got to be worth your while. Go ahead, bro.
They probably have to like throw in like Knox if they want to do that deal too. Just like something that they can at least like have some sort of vision and like trying to work with, or they probably want a Frank as well. Just defensive. You can put him out at the 2 with the De'Aaron Fox, and then that'd be like a decent backcourt like for part of it. I don't know if that's a starting, but at some point during like a rotation when you're having guys in, him and Frank could be something out there as a backcourt. But yeah, it wouldn't just be Randall. Randall is like as much as we give a lot of flack to Randall, and he has blocked me. So
wait. Julius Randle blocked you, bro? He's like one of the nicest dudes on Twitter, man. How'd you get blocked by Julius?
Apparently, he doesn't like that I talk about him doing too many spinning moves into the paint because he's been doing this since Kentucky. All right?
Oh man, Julius took exception to the spinneroonie and blocked you on Twitter, man.
Man, but I like as good like as much as like we get frustrated with Randall, and as comical as that is, like he is like a decent player. He was just thrown into a role that wasn't meant for him. He's not a one option. He's doing better in New Orleans. Like he does have some value. The question is like, does someone want him on $18 million a year on that contract for one more year? And do they see that they can use him in some like in some usable fashion? Like I don't see, for the Kings is like they were close to the playoffs last year. They were like 9. Do they see adding him and adding depth at the big? Does he take you to that next level to, in a stacked West to make you more competitive?
Right.
I don't necessarily see it, but maybe he can. I don't know how the team would gel, but it like if he's going to get traded, it'd have to be a team that really says like we're close. We just need someone off the bench
just need a punch,
and who can just like, because he's a good finisher down low.
Mm-hmm.
He can eat up second units like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So. Like he really could.
Yeah. So my bad, Alex Collins from Ireland. He patented the term the spin over. Oh, we need a T-shirt. We need a T-shirt of that one.
Yo, please, I'll wear that every day.
We need a T-shirt on that one. The spin over. That was perfect. Trademark that. The spin over.
There we go.
Oh man, yo, I haven't been blocked, man. I haven't been blocked. Say that. Suffice to say, I have not been blocked. All right, a couple more calls before we wrap up. We've reached 1,000 in the chat, Al. 1,000. We're at 10:14. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You know what time it is. Number one show for the fans by the fans. We got 1,000 people in here and want to talk about Knicks or just hear us bask, in our misery. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean?
Some combination of both.
Yeah. Or maybe they just like the spin over. Yo, that's a perfect term. We need that on the shirt, man. The spin over. Julius Randle's patented move.
We'll just have like a cyclone just going around.
Yeah, just do like Tasmanian devil.
That's it. That's it right there. That's it right there.
That is it. Simple play, man. All right, 2 more calls so we wrap up. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys as well. We had 372. Let's get to 500 likes. We got 1,000 people watching. Let's get to 500 likes before we wrap up. All right, 2 more calls in here. Let's go to Anthony from New York. What's going on, bro?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, bro. What's going on?
All right, I got a trade scenario. I got a few trade scenarios. You guys spoke about some of them, but I'm thinking about trading down for Naismith. You got the Wizards that's right under us. For John Wall, we spoke about that. That's out the picture. No. I'm thinking the Suns, Ricky Rubio. Yeah, he's not the penetrate type of thing, but he's a He's a serviceable point guard that we can use that we haven't had. The Spurs, we could get DeAndre Murray, and he's a three. He's kind of like a 3-and-D and kind of like a slasher too that can help us. And then down to the Pelicans for Lonzo, which we spoke about. I'm really high on that Spurs, and they could turn that French kid into a good point guard or whatever if we trade down and we draft Naismith.
Okay. All right. Couple options. Appreciate the call, bro. Couple options. Yeah, I seen the Deontay Murray one. I can't really see the Spurs doing that, but, you know, where's Pop going to be? You know, they're talking about Pop potentially going to the Nets.
Oh, stop it.
I
can't see that.
They're saying the Nets want Pop, man.
Sure, they can want Pop all they want.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Pop's going to leave the Spurs after so many winning years?
Did you feel like Kawhi Leonard was going to leave the Spurs in turmoil?
I didn't feel like he was going to leave in turmoil, but I don't. Does Pop have turmoil with the Spurs?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's the question right there. If he has some turmoil with the Spurs, then I could buy that even more.
Yeah.
But us trading with the Spurs, are they still angry at us for taking Mook?
Oh yeah, there's no deal. The whole Bertans thing. The Spurs are not trading with the Knicks. Excellent point. The Spurs, RC Buford, is not trading with the Knicks by any stretch. The Porzingis thing supposedly was the first strike. Supposedly the Spurs were the aggressor in the whole beef. Right? Because supposedly the Spurs were flirting with KP.
Because, that whole deal with KP is that apparently there were other teams that were ready to bid, and it just happened so quick that no one got a chance to bid. And, you know, I'd like to know what the other options were, because I feel like we still, you know, part of me feels like we got the short end of the stick, even though that KP's not playing right now. It could be a net zero. We'll have to see in a few more years, but
yeah,
I would be upset too if like didn't get a chance to even bid on like a player like that.
It's facts. Shout out to RJ Team in the chat. He says, imagine if the Knicks become good. You know, we got 1,000 people in here. If this team becomes good, man, every time we're supposed to take 2 steps forward, we take 2 steps back. But you know what? The channel has been impacted. You know, I felt like the channel, you know, with the whole Zion hype and the KD hype, if couple of those things would have happened, obviously we would have tripled up. But then it didn't happen. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how long I'm gonna be around, but you know, the support has been incredible. Everybody's hitting that thumbs up button for you boys. Everybody's sharing these videos. We had a lot of great content. I hope you guys caught the interview that I just did with Brandon Williams. Speaking of the Kings, talked to Brandon Williams, the old assistant GM of the Kings. So that I thought that was a good interview. Definitely check that out, people in the chat, if you haven't seen it. TM or Dave, if you can drop that link to the Brandon Williams interview in the chat as well. Just make sure anybody who missed it could catch it as well.
That was a great interview.
Appreciate it, man. And we talked about, you know, taking Bagley over Luka, and you know, I thought he was pretty candid, man. I thought he was pretty candid, man. I still can't believe the Kings gave up that chance. And wasn't Vladdy who had like some beef with Luka's father too? They said that there was some personal beef there as well. You know, Vladdy made it seem like, oh, well, you know, we thought Bagley was better, period. But who knows? It's somewhere in the middle, you know? Truth is somewhere in the middle there. All right, last call of the night. We're going to go to... I'm going to do 2 more calls. One more. Let me go. Josh from San Diego. Josh, how you feeling? Yo. Josh, yo, what's up, bro? Go ahead, bro.
Hey, what's going on, CP? I am all in on Lamelo Ball. I think the Knicks need to move up in this draft. And I know you don't like this, but we got to part ways with Mitch in order for us to do that. So the particular trade that I'm proposing, I'm packaging Mitch with Julius Randle, his expiring contract, mind you, that's $20 million coming off the books, number 27 from this year. And if we can try to get one of the other younger players, like probably Knox, or if we can't get the younger player, maybe next year's number 1, into Golden State for number 2 and Andrew Wiggins. For us, it helps us out tremendously because we get to keep number 8. We have number 2 and number 8, so that's going to be LaMelo, and then you can get either Toppin or Okoro or anything like that. And people are really sleeping on Andrew Wiggins. Now, I get his contract is $30 million. However, we're talking about a former Rookie of the Year who is now starting to come into his own. I think that reuniting him with Thibodeau will be great things. And then you got a young core. You got RJ, Wiggins is still 25 years old. You got Lamelo Ball, and then whoever we got at number 8. That's a great young core right there for us to build around. Just surround them with some shooters, and who knows? I like that.
All right, give me the trade. Give me the trade one more time.
All right, so you got Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle's expiring contract. His contract is coming off the books at the end of next year when Giannis becomes a free agent. Mm-hmm. Golden State wants to win now. The other caller said that, Golden State is worried about the money. They're trying to win now and maximize Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. So Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, number 27 from this year, and potentially next year's first rounder for Andrew Wiggins and number 2, the rights to number 2, which is going to be LaMelo Ball.
And you're not even giving up 8? All right. I gotta. They would never do that trade. Like, he's saying Mitch, Julius, 27, and to get 2 and Wiggins is basically what he was saying.
Yeah, and I think he said we'd have to throw in next year's
one. I
think he said Dallas's the Dallas pick.
Yeah, they would never do that though.
Nah, for Wiggins to give them Mitch, Wiggins, the 27.
No.
And then next year's pick for I can't see the Warriors.
They would never
that either.
They would never do that deal.
I can't see.
They would never do that deal.
I love Mitch, but we also got to be real with the value of Mitch, too.
Right?
I'm just
we got to be real here, man.
And then on top of that, so if we're giving Mitch, who's not a finished product, and we already went through Randall as being a really a better bench option, right? Just why would they even want that? And that's with us, they can go if they can go out and get a Beal, why even do that trade with us?
Yeah. I didn't see it, Josh. I didn't see it, man. You my guy, man. And me and Josh went at it on the Melo topic too. I like Josh that he stands his ground though. He comes with his points. He stands his ground and he makes his explanations. I wouldn't see the Warriors doing it. For LaMelo, I don't think they're gonna be aggressive to go get him. To be honest, I don't think they'll be aggressive to go get LaMelo. Let's see if he falls. If there's a potential that he falls to 4 or 5, then let's see what happens.
Yeah, because then I feel like you can actually do a trade with someone like the Cavs or the Bulls, and
right.
You can take Otto Porter or a Thaddeus Young from the Bulls and be like, hey, we'll do that swap, or even with the Cavs, we'll take Kevin Love, or if you want to give us Drummond for his last year, we'll take Drummond first. I know. Facts. I think it's a player option that he has to take, and which he probably will take. We would have to do something like that.
Yeah,
and that's more realistic because we got to work with also teams who are trying to win, not with a team that's looking to win now.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. Still got 1,000 in the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We're at 422 likes in here. Let's get up to 500 and hook that up. All right, last call of the night, the closer. We're going down south. We're going to Alabama. Manny's in the building. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's happening, CP?
How you doing, bro?
All right, brother. I've been waiting for the week to call you because I've been hearing so much about point guard, and really what we need is an element of a top-notch point guard, which is a penetrating guard who can get into the paint and who can make things happen. And the fact is, this is such a weak draft that some of the point guards that we're looking at wouldn't even be in the top 10 if it wasn't for this draft. Killian Hayes would definitely give you a thought, to take him, obviously. But by Detroit, he's going to be gone. And to me, there's only 3 potential all-stars in this draft, which is LaMelo, Edwards, and Toppin. And if you look at, who we've got as far as assistant coaches and in management, to me, the number 8 choice is going to be Tyrese Maxey. Okay? He does all those things. He's the best, to me, at getting in the paint, finishing off contact. He's got the floater game, the mid-range game. And then, everybody poops on his 3-point shooting that that is only 29%, but he shoots 84% from the free throw line. And to me, the one comparison is Donovan Mitchell. And to me, it's interesting that we got some of the stats from Donovan Mitchell from Utah Jazz. And if you think about it, they actually moved up in the draft to get Donovan Mitchell. And for me, just to give you my other choices, is at the 27, Elijah Hughes, which is a great 3-and-D guy, and he is an NBA level scorer, and he'll give you the same thing as Vessel, but at a better shooter. And then at the 38th spot, the best shooter is the Stanford kid, Tyrell Terry. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly.
Yep.
He's a little light, but he's the best shooter. Or Cassius Stanley, who's an NBA athlete. So really, I wanted to give you my choice, but what I wanted to get your input on is, do you think it's too much of a stretch to look at Tyrese Maxey at that number 8 spot? And I'll hang up and hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I can only go off, and appreciate the call, man. I thought that was a good call. I can only go off of what we've researched and what you hear. It seems like they have him more between the 15 and 20s range rather than early lottery. I think Maxey's a scrapper, though. You know, I understand the 3-point shooting is not down, but I love the floater. You know, he can get into the paint. He's a good finisher. As you said, free throw shooting is there. You have Kenny Payne here. You have Johnny Bryan, who's a guard developer here. 27, if he's there, take him. You know, if he's there, 27, they like him, take him. I don't think it won't be 8, though. I don't think they'll be reaching for any of these guards at 8. I don't think they're going to reach for Kira. I don't think they're going to reach for Maxey. I don't think they're going to reach for Cole Anthony either.
Yeah, no, that's more of a trade back situation that we talked about earlier. And I like Maxey. Maxey's a scrapper, as you already said. He's tough. Like the way he goes into the paint, he's ready to take contact. He's an awesome finisher. I'd be ecstatic to have him on the team too, but that requires a trade back because that's a reach then.
Yeah, like
to take him out of that slot. I think, you know, when it comes to 3-point shooting for him, you hope that he can develop. I think, and I'm going to throw it back to Spencer on the lotto night. It's, you know, he's a clutch player. When he wants to step up to the challenge, he'll step up to the challenge. And sometimes you just need guys who can just step up to the plate and just perform. And Maxey's that type of guy. He's ready to be in that type of moment from what he showed at UK. If we do take him, then I am really questioning our Kentucky connections with KP. And we're just strictly going Kentucky, and we're strictly
Kentucky and CAA, man. And
that's all we're doing.
Vassell is CAA and Obi CAA, among others, among others. But Vassell is definitely CAA, Obi CAA. Watch out for the CAA Illuminati come draft night at number 8, man. Don't be surprised if Obi's the pick either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And the concern with Obi, we already went over, is just defense.
Yeah.
It's you know, I feel like it would be the reverse effect. We're tired of having guys that just play defense and just can't shoot. Then we'll have a guy who has
complete opposite. Complete
opposite. My question is I guess the one thought with Obi is could Tibbs mask his defensive flaws?
Never know with Mitch there. You never know if you get another quality wing defender in there. You know, that could, again, if you have that flexibility on the wing, who could potentially guard some 4s. Maybe you can have lineups where you have an Obi at a small ball 5. You know what I mean? It all depends on the other guys around them, but I think that's a potential. And if anyone would know how to do that, that's certainly Tibbs, man. So we'll see how it goes. Certainly hasn't helped Towns, but it's, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we'll see how it goes. But Al, good show, man. Good, definitely great job. Let's get over to your screen. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, and Stitcher. Al, I'm going to cut it over to you. Go ahead and sign out, bro.
CP, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the work that you, Jay Ellis, and everyone else does for this channel. It's amazing. And just really, thank you for having me on. For people who want to find me, you can find me at Stratocaster101 on Twitter. You can find my articles at Hoops Habit. You can check out the podcast, Knicks, Jets, etc., which drops twice a week. If you're also a miserable Jets fan, please come take a follow. Yeah, and I'll also throw up that Frank Ntilikina video for this channel too. Make sure to check that one out if you haven't already.
Yeah. The Frank video was great, man, and we're working on the RJ video next. So great job on those indeed, man. Yeah, Alex did the Frank Ntilikina report card, so we're working on the RJ one and a couple more. So let us know what you guys thought about that as well. And like I said, man, manscaped.com, promo code Knicks. 20% off plus free shipping. Don't miss it out. #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. Make sure you come correct, man, when you're going out there with the ladies after the quarantine, man. Great show by all the mods. Everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys one more time. I want to shout out George Jones in the chat. Definitely want to shout out John Talento, Stephen Fox, Nick the Knicks fan. Nick the Knicks fan, he's gung-ho about Manscaped, man. He's been talking about Manscaped all night. Anthony Parasol in the chat, always good to see you in here. Will Rose, appreciate it. Who else we got in here? Random, what's going on? Salim Smith, appreciate it. Paul Quick out in the West Coast, salute to Paul. Out there in LA, Franco Baldo, appreciate it as well. And my guy Alex Collins checking in from Ireland. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Appreciate all the support. And lastly, the super chat above the rim. Appreciate the super chat, man. And Lawan Williams as well, man. See you guys later on this week. Peace.